Different, don't get bad. High difference of my winning. Show do good, not that swing. Yeah, I got nice vision. It doesn't make sense to me, dude.
Sean here. Yesterday I was making a video about Cyrax soon to crash out. I got about halfway through, had to quit, never finished it. I get up this morning and he's already crashing out. We already knew he had switched from making music to gaming. He had to take a step back after he started his own record label. He doesn't have a plan. He didn't really have an LLC. I think somebody did some research and he paid like $99 for someone to fill out the paperwork and get everything in order. But it ends up costing something like $300 total to get the LLC started. It's insanity. This goblin doesn't know anything about what he's supposed to know, but I'll be damned if he doesn't know every little detail about the trolls that have gone on, that he's been involved in. Chance focused on his LLC so much, and he was working on music. He's about to put out 5 albums every 2 days for the past 10 years. I got about 8 albums. I got about a dozen albums. I've just been sitting on them, getting ready to drop. Motherfucking Bender Boys. God, that's the greatest video ever. But what was really concerning is Chance in his crash out. He couldn't help it. He went all the way back to Kira and started talking about his detective work back then and how his son at the time, Callum, and he does miss that life when he had somebody. Think about it. Kira was his best relationship. If you really think about that, how sad and pathetic is that? But it sounds like to this day that Callum, her son, is the one that he hopes shows back up on his doorstep, knocks on the door, and Careless Whisper plays, and Callum says, "Let's go up to your room, Chance, I've really missed you." By the way, I think he farts in that video at something like 24 seconds, 25 seconds. He like leans forward as if he's adjusting the camera. I can't tell if it's a chair or his fart, but the last time we saw him lean forward and look at the camera, he farted. Didn't even bother to edit the video, didn't even edit it out, just left it in. I guess he just doesn't care anymore. Here's how I would put it. You are a romantic and giving person, right? You are. Your spouse is not really touchy-feely, lovey-dovey. But it makes you happy to give that spouse all of that attention and all of the flowers and candy, and they don't respond the way that you want, and you get frustrated. I think that's what we're seeing. Chance thought that having this LLC and bragging about his record company was going to send the trolls into some kind of spiral, but they didn't. And now he's back to he can't help it. Now he's back to talking. I think he even mentions William and N-word boy, and he cannot help it. He's not going to address the trolls, but he's addressing the trolls. He didn't get the reaction that he wanted, and it bothered him. It would be like being a classic car lover, and you get a motorcycle. Oh, a motorcycle. What do I do with that? That is what Chance, quote unquote, likes to make music. But then he's gifted what he thinks is a company, a record label. Something that he may have talked about in the past, but I don't think it's something that he really, really wanted. So he got that and was like, "Oh yeah, I've got it. I can brag about it." Like you would brag about the awesome motorcycle gift you got. You don't really like them. You don't really want to ride it, but you're out there bragging about it to anybody who will listen. It's the same thing. It's a pointless, point of pride. An unnecessary flex. So now that he's done the flex and no one is reacting and he got completely owned, and William and N-word boy or whoever, I think it was William, filed and got the federal LLC they put out for Fallen Mask Records. I don't know if you remember that video I put about it would be the ultimate troll. Well, apparently, because you can't just do it in 24 hours. You can't. Apparently, William or whoever, they already had it in mind. Chance, if I can think of something like that they have already thought of, dude, there's a problem, because I know you can't even think of these scenarios. While you are out here running your mouth, they're literally weeks ahead of you. And I don't know what he thought was going to happen, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know what Chance thought was going to happen by coming out and telling everybody exactly what he was doing. Coming out and telling your opposition, this is exactly what I'm doing. This is what it's named. This is what I'm on. This is what I'm recording my stuff on. These are the people involved. And I'm going to flash back real quick to one of the first videos I ever saw of Chance was the Xbox being bricked. And I felt bad for him because I didn't know who he was. I thought, man, that's his piece of equipment. But then oh my God, I found out who he was, what he had done, what he had said to people. And I just kept thinking to myself, if Sally won't get you off the internet, these people will. And again, Sally, where are you? You're letting this 10-year-long delusion go on, and he's still talking about things that probably weren't even real. He brought up some girl named April and he thought through his 10 years worth of detective procedures, or whatever you want to call it. Well, April said she had current photos, but that her camera wasn't working, and you could see a little bitty candle light behind his eyes. Well, how can you have recent pictures if your camera doesn't work? I'm like, dude, it took you, 6 years, however long it was, for you to figure this out, and you think you're going to beat N-word boy and William Glory Hole? Are you a freaking moron? Now I heard he hates Swampy D, because Swampy is in a rock band, right? Swampy is a legitimate musician, living out Chance's dream. The exact kind of music Chance dreams that he could do. He's apparently met people and knows people that Chance talks about. Chance has never done anything in his life, and I think what one of his problems is that he looks around and sees everyone else living the way he wishes he could. And again, his personal hell would be leading a normal life, a sane life. He sees them all living well, which is all you can do, really, as revenge. If you want to beat Chance, just live normally. Have a friendship. One real friendship. Not 045. Shout out to my boy 045. If he had that one friendship, they could have helped him get that LLC with his fat tongue. I can't do the impression like I want to, but when he says alone, he just can't get the L's going. Much like Lauren Armstrong. He needs approval and he needs encouragement, but there's nobody in his life. And Chance has to be the one. He doesn't know what's right, what's wrong. He doesn't know what's a success, what's a milestone, the steps to make himself successful. He doesn't have somebody to push him when he's struggling. There's no one. But do you think he would actually listen to them? No, he hasn't listened for 10 years. Sally has completely given up, it appears. I think he argued with her one video, and he basically told her to kick rocks, pound sand. I think she's completely given up. And as long as he's up here talking and not screaming with the door closed, she doesn't have to hear it. Ed's a perk zombie laying on the couch. Sally, he's making those videos again. I don't care as long as I don't hear him. How do you get to this point? I crashed out on Magic, and if you'll forgive me, I'm just going to share a quick personal story. My mom was dying of cancer. This was the second time. We were in the hospital. She was in hospice. She was still lucid, right? The day before, she was crystal clear, but she went downhill so quickly. Anyway, I had a magic competition, the Winter Carnival of Magic, coming up. And I was really trying to make a run to perform at the Magic Castle. I had a blog. I think it was called Road to the Castle. The roadmap was going to Winter Carnival of Magic and then performing at Abbott's. Winter Carnival would be like a good litmus test for where I was at. And I went on to Abbott's, and I think I got fourth. I was either going to get second or fourth. But anyway, this is about the Winter Carnival. My mom pulls the whole, I don't I don't know if your mom is like this, but man, they can get whatever they want. She pulled the whole, son, I don't want your last memory of me to be that I held you back. I said, Mom, I'm not leaving. Well, and I could just see it coming. I said, Mom, if you pull that last request on me, and I managed to get a smile out of her, and she said, I want you to go do this for me. So I go down there, and I know this may be boring to some, but I'm relating a story. I did this all on my own. I had one person that I sent a video to. I go down there. I give one of the best performances I've ever given. I get the scores back because we got them back before they announced the official thing. There was the famous magician who'd been on Today Show and everything was there. 98 from them, which was 6 points higher than anyone else. 96, 98, 96. And then a fucking 80. An 80. From someone I am friends with today because I'm a very forgiving person. They didn't like me at the time because they were jealous because I was doing manipulation, and that's something they could never do because they had an issue with their hand. So I had to go back and tell my mom. She was already gone at this point. She was still alive, but she wasn't there. And I just whispered in her ear. I said, Mom, I lost to a fat guy in a disco suit and an afro who had a disco ball. And I lost to a legitimate little person who looked like an egg that did a Charlie Chaplin routine. I could have crashed out. I could have given up. I mean, think about what a devastation that would be, given the time frame, given what was going on, given that I dedicated it to my mom. But I came back, and the person that had to watch my video, I went over to their house, and they talked to me, and I just hashed it out, and we figured out a plan, and I kept going. Think of what that scenario was to me and how it would have crushed me. 2 days later, Mom passes. I lost all interest. I just wanted to give up. But somebody was there to tell me, hey, don't give up. Keep going. And I ended up performing at a show, like a paid show. It was just like this moment in time I found out what I was made of. Chance had a fake LLC. Chance had a chance to make something. I hate when I do that. Chance had a chance. He had an opportunity to make something of himself. But unfortunately for this little goblin, his whole life has been nothing but disappointment. So he's had to cope and rationalize and just convince himself that it was everyone else's fault. I look at that competition like I didn't do a good enough job at just never leave it in the judge's hands. You guys know I've been around MMA since 1999. Never leave it in the judge's hands. And I did. And I reasoned it out that I just wasn't good enough and I needed to make a change. Chance will never realize that he's not good enough. If you made it through that story, I genuinely appreciate you. Chance, he will never make it through adversity. He will never figure out that he's the problem, that he has to make a change, that he can't do this alone, that he's chased everyone off who could ever give him a little boost. Anyone who could ever help him with a roadmap or tell him about the ins and outs of the business. He doesn't surround himself with successful people, with people he wants to be like, or people that know how to get him from point A to point B. And thank God, because if he ever did get in some kind of position of power, he'd be like Lauren offering that girl at Walmart, well, I got some work out of my trailer for you. Come on out in the middle of nowhere. We know what Chance is like when the chips are down. We know what he's like. He cries. Why are you? Will you please just listen to me? And then, I beg of you, please. He has no willpower, no fortitude, nothing. So was it really a shock that he supposedly got this record label and supposedly had two best friends? They've been best friends forever, that he met literally like a couple days before. That he didn't produce anything of value? No, it's not a shock, because the only thing he can do that gets him any kind of attention is put out videos mentioning the troll community, telling everyone how he's escaped it, how he's better than them, and then coming back and making videos about how bad they are. It's a cycle that we have seen repeat. Some of you have seen it repeat way more than I have. But he crashes out, then lashes out. He wanted something so bad, finally got it, had no idea what to do with it, and he gave up. And now he thinks, well, the LLC's there. I can go back to it anytime I want. I've already made it since I'm making it big time. I've already made it big time. I don't have to do anything. Now I can talk down to people because I've accomplished something. And again, Chance, it's like you being wanting to be a chef, going to Burger King, buying the burger, bringing it home, showing it to everybody, and then saying, see, I am a chef. Because all you did was pay for something. You didn't put any hard work. You didn't have a plan. You don't have any plans past showing everybody that you just got an LLC. And now you've been trumped by the greatest of all time, N-word boy and William Glory Hole. And you are fucking lucky, Chance, that Heelborn, unless I missed something, is not in this community. Because adding him, you would be smoked. You would be ashes. You would never recover. They would have you trolled so hard, you wouldn't even remember your name. So one last thing, if I could, I would get Lauren Armstrong, who wants to be a musician so bad. He's also a pedo. Get him to sign to Pedo Records, LLC, under Chance. Have Chance be the big music producer and have Lauren be the music artist. If these two worlds could ever collide, oh my God, it'd be wonderful. All right, I'm done rambling. I'll see you guys in the next one.
It doesn't make sense to me, dude. Different, don't get bad. High difference on my winning. Show do good, not that swing. Yeah, I got night vision. Don't my family, don't my brothers.